Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and boy, oh boy, do we have a special one for you. Now, if you ever come about during some of the little tarot streams, you may have seen her in there. And if you are a fan of Two Pondering Pagans, you may have seen her over there. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, well, sit your butt down and listen up because you're about to find out. My twin, the awesome, the amazing, the extremely knowledgeable Mama Dragon is here. Hi, Dragon.
Hello, Melvin. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome having you on, especially with such short notice, too.
I got a lot of free time these days, so it works.
Yeah, well, knock on wood, now that you said that, it's gonna just get
All
taken
right.
up. So, next thing you're gonna say is, what happened? I had so much free time, it's gone.
That's normal. Yeah.
Now, here's one for you. Okay, so is it better to be busy as a bee or is it better to be lazy as a cat?
Depends. I could go for either, depending on mood and season. I like a calm winter. I don't mind being busy during the spring, summer, fall, but in the winter, I like to just kind of chill and relax.
You see, I'm truly a Taurus because I really don't like doing anything. Just give me something to eat and let me lay around in the shade. I'm watching the cars pass and I'm happy.
I like to do my thing.
Yeah.
I don't like to do other things unless I absolutely have to. So I get that.
Yeah, so that's a good way of putting it. I like doing my things. I'm
Yeah, my
going to
busy. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, I'm fine being busy, improving our property and gathering all the plants and cooking all the food, but I don't want to have to go to work 60 hours a week anymore because that's just not fun.
Yeah, I mean, no one, well, no sane person wants to do that anyway. There's a lot of insane people who
No.
love it. It's like, woo, yeah, this is amazing. I love it. And it's like, oh boy, to me, that's on the same league as the folks who enjoyed school. I never understood, like, how do you like this so much? Why are you so happy about this? I always
No,
saw
I
what,
I did not like the school thing either. I'm
yeah,
with you on that.
yeah, I always saw it as just, uh, this is gonna sound bad, but a type of prison for indoctrination and just
I mean, it pretty much
legally,
is. I know
that's
our teachers told us outright that they were training us for the workforce by giving us copious amounts of homework that we had to do unpaid. And I'm like, I don't see myself in a job like this, but sure.
yeah, that's something that's always bugged me. I remember really young, I questioned what is the point of it? How is this gonna make me rich? And that's exactly how I said, how is this gonna make me rich? I feel like I'm just going to work for others and not make anything.
Mhm.
So,
And they won't tell you that most of the richest people in the country dropped out of school.
oh no,
Usually college, but
yeah.
still.
Yeah, so I always thought that was interesting. And, going a bit deeper into this before we get into the super topics, but it's somewhat annoying because I do value education and knowledge. It is important. I just don't agree with how it's taught and the taking away the individual, like a lot of times in classes, and I'm not blaming teachers for this because they have to make a paycheck and do what they're told as well, but I hate that they don't look at the individual person. Instead they look at the
Uh-huh.
group, and not everything that works for the group works for the individual.
Nope.
And, I was unfortunately that individual. I could not work with the group.
I was also that individual. Did not work well with the group, and the standard style of education was not great for me.
Yeah.
Like I will learn copious amounts on my own, but the way they teach it was just not conducive to how my brain learns.
Yeah, and it's a lot of other little things as well, not pushing someone's passion. I was speaking to someone not too long ago about various passions and loves and all that stuff. And they are extremely talented in art. Like they're an incredible artist, untrained but incredible. And they had a bit of a breakdown because they're unable. School didn't push what they loved. Instead, they pushed what society wants. They forced them to like, no, you
Hmm.
need to focus on math and math only, or
Yep.
like you need to know this stuff from and I'm a history person. I do love history, but not everyone does. But they're pushing like know what happened in 12th century Europe and mess. Like, what the heck? How is that going to help me right
Uh-huh.
now? And I felt so bad for them because they have such talent and such a love of art, drawing, painting, all that stuff. And it was never pushed, it was never cultivated.
Especially the arts are seen as this useless passion, and it's like all of humanity revolves around the arts. Math and science and stuff is great, and I love it too, and history as well. But if you look at history, what drove most of the developments in humanity? It was the arts, and then science and stuff followed along.
Yeah, exactly. But, it is what it is, unfortunately. But I personally think and this is where conspiracy side Melvin comes out, but I do think it's completely by design to keep us divided, separated, ignorant, and
Hmm.
unable to push ourselves forward. Like, you you got to get lucky. Even with college.
Hmm.
With college, I tell people usually having a degree, it doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're doing, or I mean, yeah, it shows that you did the work, but it doesn't necessarily mean you understand it or actually know it. College is for freaking networking. It's who you know.
Hmm.
That's how you get places. So,
That's definitely true. And they want people just smart enough to do the work, not actually smart enough to give them problems.
yeah. So, and I don't know, it just always bugged me. And then taking it a step further, in low income communities, and I'm happy to say that they changed this recently, and I'm going to tell you all. So most of you know I'm from Compton, California, and Compton High looked like a freaking prison. No joke.
Mm.
It looked like a prison, and I believe part of that was to indoctrinate lower income students, or um, yeah, the lower income students to be prepared. They had freaking metal detectors, armed security. They would pat you down. Like, I didn't go to Compton High, but I remember going to a football game with my uncle one time, and I was patted down, and I was 14. And I felt so humiliated. It's like, what the heck is this? I don't like this. And
No.
this is something that they would go through daily, and it's like, get used to it. This is your life, this is all you are going to amount to, and it's like you're a criminal before you even step foot out the door. And it was just wild to me. But they tore down the old high school and put up a new one. I believe Dr. Dre actually invested and helped build it. Oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's a place where you would want to go to. It's oh, the prison is gone. Now it looks,
That's good.
yeah. And I don't like Apple, but it looks like an Apple campus. It's really nice. That
Yeah, that's nice. That school to prison pipeline is a real thing.
Oh, it 100% is. And I mean, just sometimes you're just stuck in the system and you can't get out of it or get away from it and all that. But holy cow, we went down a road, didn't we? But that's what this is about. I mean, this is part of unexplained possibilities. It's yapping and all that good stuff. But
It's the joy of such conversations. You never know where you're going to end up.
yeah, exactly. However, we are going to end up in your past for a moment because Dragon, well, at least I like to think that you are a spiritual person, and like I said at the little opening spiel, you are extremely knowledgeable, which I respect immensely. But where did you get your start from? How did you get on your spiritual path?
It was kind of a long, winding road for me. I grew up, raised Jehovah's Witness, so I grew up in that cult mentality. And around the time I was about 11, my mother insisted on removing us from that environment for how they treated her. And after that, it was kind of okay, where do I go from here? Because that's all I was raised with. But I was always an outdoorsy kid and fantasy novel loving child. And it was actually through like Lord of the Rings and some other fantasy authors that I got interested in the occult, and then from there, paganism and all the herbs and potions always interested me in those types of novels. So that's where I got into like the herbalism side of the spirituality and the animistic side. Uh, I met a friend in middle school whose parent was much more open to such things, and they had some books on green witchcraft
Mm,
that I borrowed and really started to dive into pretty hard. Took
okay.
a little side trip over into some Taoism and Eastern spiritualities too, along the way, which still kind of informs a lot of my practice, even though I didn't stay in that genre of beliefs.
Yeah, but it's there, and it's a little ironic that Lord of the Rings kind of got you or helped get you on that path as well, considering Tolkien, wasn't he very religious?
He was, yes, but
Yeah,
he
so
wasn't a shove it down everybody's throat
he
type
wasn't a fanatic.
religious. No. That was more like C.S. Lewis that got into the very, very heavy Christian messaging in a lot of their books.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Oh, wow. Really? And of course, someone decides to text me right when we're recording. Don't text me. Go away.
That's how it always goes. I won't hear from anybody all day, and then as soon as I start doing something, there's like 30 people buzzing my phone.
Yeah, no, this is even worse. I haven't heard from this person in a week. So it's like now.
That sounds about right. Of
But,
course, you're busy, so of course now.
you mentioned Eastern philosophy, Eastern religions, like Taoism. What is Taoism? What is that exactly?
Taoism is very difficult to explain, is what it is. So
No, you know
there's a
what?
lot of belief.
That's the best explanation. Very difficult to explain.
It is. It's one of those things where it's such a simple concept, but trying to explain it takes, 10 books and a movie. Uh, but there's a lot of belief in just kind of going with the natural order in Taoism, which, is an undercurrent in a lot of faiths, but it's a heavy stress in Taoism. They call it the way. So your whole goal with Taoism is to not be in the kind of, I hate to say, the conspiracy, like the matrix. You're
Yeah.
you're not supposed to care what other people think or what other people do. You hold true to your own self and values and just kind of go along with what's natural to you. There's a lot more to it, but it's a really it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And then it's so many different sects in Taoism as well.
Mhm.
And but Taoism gave birth to Tai Chi. So
Yes.
that's a fun fact for you guys. And Tai Chi, well, I wouldn't want to try the fight with it. I mean, even though there's Tai Chi Quan, that's offensive, but it's good for the joints and movement. So
Yeah.
let's keep it at that. You're not
It's
gonna,
all about moving the energy in your
yeah.
body, the Tai Chi.
So keep it at that. Now with the herbalism, I am. so interested in that because I feel that nature can provide us with everything for our natural elements. Now, if it's something man-made, well, that's different. But I am a very big proponent for using natural remedies and learning about various plants and all that. How long did it take you to get to where you are on in my opinion, a master level of understanding plants and what heals what helps with what?
I've been studying herbalism off and on since I was about 13. I did a heavy dive and did a real nice certification course when I was in my mid 20s. And I've been studying a lot since then. I've actually gotten more into, instead of the medicinal side of it, more the food side of it, like with all the wild plants where we live right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially according in like the Eastern traditions with herbalism, you want to treat the body so the problems don't arise in the first place. And one of the good ways to do that is by consuming all of these plants and other things that are, feeding your body in the right ways instead of all the over processed stuff you get out of the package, and even like the vegetables and fruits that come from the factory farms where the soil is so depleted that they don't really have the good nutrition in them anymore.
Yeah, that and the pesticides. Ugh.
Yep. So I
It's
got a lot. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we literally put poison in our bodies. Like,
Mhm.
quite simply, we poison ourselves. But keep going. Ignore me. I'm just, huh.
Oh, no, you're fine. I say as I've got a lot into trying to eat at least a little bit off of our, wild land with every meal or having drinks from it. Because the soil here is not heavily depleted. We don't use pesticides. We don't use any of that here. So all this stuff that I'm, harvesting is all not organic because that's a certification you got to get,
Mm,
but it hasn't been treated with that kind of stuff. And I can tell the difference in my health and how I feel. Like between the good months when I can go out and harvest a lot, and then in the winter when I'm having to rely more on store bought stuff, I definitely feel a lot more sluggish and run down when I'm having to rely on that.
okay. Taste difference as well.
Very much so.
Okay.
There's so much more flavor in the wild grown and harvested stuff, or even the stuff you grow in your garden, um, where the soil hasn't been just trashed by decades of overuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's really cool. And I know, I remember when my grandmother was still alive, she used to have a strawberry patch, and the dog OG and her would pretty much compete to try and get to the strawberry. Like, who's going to get it first and everything. The dog, of course, would mostly win, but those were some of the best strawberries I have ever had, and they were just normal straw. She didn't do anything special to them, just watered and made sure the soil was cool. And I will never forget just the taste of them versus store bought. That's not to say I think store bought strawberries are trash and all that. No, you got some good ones. But when you have them fresh, like just from your own garden, no
Still warm
chemical,
from the sun
yeah,
and mhm.
it's such a difference. And then she would make jam with it as well, and it was like, whoa. I've never been able to find that taste again. It's like, nothing compares to it. If I had a green thumb, I would try growing my own, but everything I touch dies. So, uh,
Strawberries are kind of finicky too until you get them like well established. They like to die pretty easy.
okay, so it's not just me being Dr. Death.
No, they're once you get them established, they're very hard to kill, but they die real easy before that point.
Oh, great. Okay, so they're a new, they're literally a newborn. Oh God. Oh,
Pretty much,
that
yeah.
sounds terrible, doesn't it? I just
Uh,
realized what I said. Oh gosh. Um, so, What was one of the major things you learned though? Because you moved out to where you are from Florida, right? And I won't dox you or nothing like that, but you did move from Florida. What was one of the
Yes.
big differences for you?
Between Florida and here, for the herbal, it's so much easier up here. Florida is really difficult in that the environment is extreme there. It's extreme here too, but in a different direction. But it's really hard to forage down in Florida because there's just not a lot of good information on tropical plants in the US. Even the Florida specific books really didn't have good information, and the plants down there are so different than what's in the north, and it made foraging a lot harder. And honestly, Florida is so overpopulated and polluted right now that I don't know if I'd trust a lot of stuff you can harvest there anyway.
Mhm.
Where we are now, the population of the entire county is a fifth of what the population of my city in Florida was.
Oh,
And wild things abound. We live in the middle of tens of thousands of acres of, state woodlands. So there's just so much abundant wild stuff to gather here. Medicinally, food wise, magic herb wise, it just grows in mass quantities everywhere here.
you see, that's awesome. That's what you want. Although,
Yeah, well, me and my husband are both like low key kind of preppers. And one of the big things we looked at when we decided we couldn't do Florida anymore was an area that had abundant natural resources that we could use.
yeah.
So it was a big part of picking to move here.
No, that's smart in my opinion. Like you don't necessarily have to think the worst, but prepare for the worst. You never know.
Yeah, and even not the worst. Like this is stuff I enjoy,
Yeah,
so
and
it
that
was
that
a move we would have done anyway.
yeah, so that makes it even better that you enjoy it. Okay, so what are some tips you can give us for foraging and finding out what's good, what isn't?
So definitely get a book that is specific to the area you're in, not just like, edible plants of North America. Get as close to your particular climate as you can get, and then also join some good Facebook groups um, for your area in foraging, because I've learned so much about mushrooms, especially from the Facebook groups for this area for foraging. Um, and then just start with the easy things. A lot of people want to do all the things all at one time. And if you know dandelions are in your area, every part of the dandelion is usable and easy to identify. Um, Same thing with like raspberries and stuff. Start with the easy things, you're less likely to die.
Okay. And how true is this? I don't know if it's true or not. Again, I'm very much a city boy, but I heard that you're supposed to stay away from berries that are very bright. Like those are you're more at
There's
risk of getting poisoned versus darker
there are
ones.
some truth to that. There are some glaring exceptions though, like down in when I lived in Florida, the beauty berries are like this almost magenta-y purple, and they look like they would kill you, but they're edible and they're amazing to make jelly with. So that's not like a hard and fast rule. White berries are actually way more likely to be toxic, for example, than bright red berries.
Okay, so that's a good tip to know. And I love that you
And
meant
anything that has, yeah, go ahead.
no, 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 you go ahead first. You're the guest.
I was gonna say that anything that has berries, like a raspberry type looking berry that has all those little divisions in it, every single one of them is edible, no matter what the species.
Really?
So that's yes. So that's always a good tip for people who don't really know a lot. Anything that has that raspberry type berry, they're all edible. Some of them
Okay.
taste better than others, but you can eat all of them.
Okay. No, that is a terrific thing to know. I mean, not that I'm going to go out hiking or nothing like that, but that is such a good tip to know. And I'm happy you mentioned get a book specific to your region as well, because I was thinking about it. My dumb butt, it was like, oh yeah, get me a North American USA book, I'll be set. And it's like, oh gosh, what is this? Uh-oh. So I know it's something small, but yeah, a book for the region makes so much more sense than a book for the nation.
Yeah, and even the regional books, like I said, if you can get something that's for, say, Northern or Southern California specifically, because I can guarantee with the different in climates in Northern and Southern California, you're going to have much different things that you're going to be looking for.
Yeah, I can.
So, especially if your state's large, trying to narrow it down by the environment is also a good idea.
Yeah, I can definitely attest for that since I've lived in northern and southern, and oh boy, it's a difference.
Hmm.
I mean, even central, like it's so weird going from a desert area to a forest area to a mountain area. It's like, what is this? This is odd.
Yeah, so especially in a state like yours, you're gonna want to try to get very specific to whatever environment you're in because everything's gonna vary so much.
Yeah. So, and you know, I got to know what was a lesson from foraging or herbalism that you had to learn the hard way.
Um, Touching plants is sometimes dangerous. There are certain plants that just touching them is enough to give you a very extreme reaction. So always know what you're grabbing at before you grab it. Mushrooms you can pick and even chew and spit out to see what the taste is, and there's none of them that will cause you harm unless you're allergic. But plants are not the same. Do not put them in your mouth. And again, don't even if you have doubts, it's best not to even touch until you can identify, because some of them can give you massive burns and even poison you through your skin. Um,
Oh,
Luckily, I have not been poisoned, but I have dealt with some rashes and some burns from plants in areas I was not familiar with and did not know that, hey, just touching this is enough to cause you a bit of pain. Sometimes a lot of pain, depending on, again, what region you're in.
yeah. Well, I know in it might be in the southern southeast part of the US, there's the freaking murder tree where they have to,
Yes.
yeah, they have to isolate that thing is
Yep.
evil. I mean,
If you stand under it during a rainstorm, you're going to have a very bad day.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, not even that. If you could be away from it, but if the wind blows just right and a droplet gets on, you're having a
Hmm.
bad day. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure if you look at that thing wrong, you're going to have a bad day. Like I
Yeah, and then if you're say in Australia, they have the gimpy gimpy where if you touch it, they call it the suicide plant because it causes such extreme pain for so long that a lot of people just kill themselves.
Oh man, that's just evil. I mean, what's the purpose of this?
I mean, it's Australia. Everything's tried
Well,
to kill you.
of
So.
course, yeah. I mean, everything wants you dead down under. But still, man, like who came up with such a violent country slash continent? Like what? Oh, like what's the purpose of this? I mean, gosh, at least in Africa, if you're gonna die, at least some of the stuff looks nice. I don't mind getting taken out by a lion. They go for the jugular. Actually, lions are pretty messed up. I'd rather get taken out by a tiger before a lion. And you might be,
Yeah, lions will eat you alive. Tigers just take you
yeah,
out from behind.
yeah, tiger, and it's messed up too because lions have the power to one shot you and just end it, but they choose not to. What kind of sadistic
Yeah,
mess is that?
I mean they're cats. Cats are sadistic.
Wow. Gosh, I mean, that's not tigers, apparently. They just end it. Just done. But yeah, that's so mean. Freaking lions. And of course, all predators, they have that chase instinct too. So it's like, nope, don't run.
Mhm.
Don't turn your back. Worst thing you could do is turn your back. Have you ever had
Oh, try and make yourself look as big as you can.
speaking of, have you ever had a run in with any predators out there in the wild, like a bear or something like that?
Oh
I don't,
yes,
yeah.
the one year when the mama bear was dropping her cubs off in our yard to play on the swing set and play with the dog toys, I encountered her and her babies in the woods many times, as well as Big Daddy Bear.
Mm.
Um, I just let them know I was there and they meandered into the woods. As long as you're not stupid with the big predators, they don't usually want to do too much to you. Exceptions, of course. I would not try that with a polar bear.
Oh, yeah, no, you're probably dead. No, I was,
Coyotes. We have coyotes here, and
oh, you
they'll just
call
come
them
up and say hi and
coyotes?
then leave. Yeah, the yotes.
Ah, gee, yeah, that's how I know you're not from the West. Coyotes. Oh man. You
We got
just
wolves too, but I
yeah.
ain't seen them yet.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to mess around with wolves too much. Although it's pretty cool. The California, I think it's the gray wolf, it's making a comeback. We thought they were extinct, but they actually have been captured on trail cameras recently and everything. And it looks like they're making a comeback, which is
Nice.
awesome. So,
That's very good.
yeah, I love seeing it. I want to stay out of their territory, but I love seeing them come back.
Yeah,
But
most wolves won't bother you either. We have them here, and there's a pack that I howl with quite frequently. One time when the northern lights were going overhead, we were howling with both the coyotes and the wolves, and that was just like one of the most amazing experiences of my lifetime. Um, I see their tracks and stuff, but they don't. They generally they want to stay away from people too.
yeah, I mean, this was it would be problem. I think they know that humans cause problems. So sometimes it's
Mhm.
just best to not even bother. You have a mutual respect. You stay here, I stay here, and everyone's happy. But
Yep.
I'm trying to imagine you howling with the northern lights and the wolves and everything. That is quite the image, but a core memory as well.
Yes.
So can you give us a sample of the howl?
I don't want to blow your eardrums out.
Well, I'll take my headphones off and I'll give you 5 seconds,
All
starting
right.
now. Okay, so I saw the little sound bar go up, so that
Yeah, I try not to go too loud or too long because I don't want to injure people's ears. But
yeah, so I'll put a little warning, but that's actually really interesting. I did pull the earphones away and I heard it. I was like, oh shoot. So thank you for
yeah,
the sample.
you're welcome.
I don't know how many other people will ask you to do that. So, you know.
Actually, quite a few.
Oh,
Like when I
wow.
do yoga class with my friend Angel, they do the breathing, and you're supposed to roar, but she always has me lead the class in a howl.
You're supposed to roar in yoga? Hmm.
It's a certain like breathing technique in like certain parts that she does. It moves the energy out in a quite nice way when you're roaring with the breath.
Hmm. I might have to try that.
Yes.
God, I sound like I'm a smoker. Give me another pack. So maybe I'll look more into that. That's kind of interesting. I always enjoy little unique things like that. Although yoga and I, we're not the best of friends.
Yeah, I need to make better friends with yoga again because I'm getting old and things don't want to move the way they used to.
Yeah, I know how that goes. So get friendly with them right now before it's too late. And yoga's interesting too because there is a bit of spirituality involved with it. But then saying that spirituality can be involved with just about anything. It depends on the person. But what I want to know is, where does your spirituality come from?
Oh, it's a mixed bag. These days I mostly stick with like a very animistic kind of primal type spirituality. Like I don't go for a lot of the big rituals and showy words and all that stuff
Mhm,
anymore. It's more rooted in like doing what I did today and going out and harvesting a bunch of edibles and medicinals. For us, and I'm donating to a couple of churches that have a free apothecary for their members.
mhm.
Um, it's very much rooted in the land and relationship with that and spirits and human communities as well.
Yeah. It honestly, it just sounds very natural. It doesn't sound forced, and it sounds like what we used to be, our ancestors, something that
Yes.
we've lost along the way because, like, let's face it, the advancement of technology and us being more lazy, not specifically you, but in general, people being lazy and not wanting to connect anymore, especially when
Yeah, very much.
yeah, especially
Very
when you
much.
can click a button too and like, hey, look, I got a pizza, you know.
Yes, I will say that moving away from Florida was really helpful in that regard for me because where we live, it's a village of under 150 people.
uh, you,
You can't just click a button and get a pizza here.
you see,
Um,
I like that. I love small condensed air, well, not necessarily condensed, but small community, small areas, and I love that.
yeah, even if we hadn't wanted to kind of slow down and get back to that more, normal human way of existing, you have to here. There's no 24-hour stores. Amazon still takes a week here, a lot of the
Hmm.
times because everything is so far away. There's no delivery. If you want something, you got to go get it.
Yeah,
Um, and you have to live more in tune with the seasons here, even if you're not a farmer or anything like that, because everything is so reliant on seasonal stuff here.
yeah. You see, it kind of sounds like Mayberry a little bit, which if you guys know or if you guys don't know, just watch Andy Griffith's show one day and then you'll get it. Now, ooh, excuse me, being that you are out there, like, would you suggest, because this just popped in my head, like getting one of those giant industrial freezers that you can put in the garage and everything and store, I don't
Oh,
know, like a deer leg
I
or
have
something in there?
several.
Oh, okay, you're
I
ahead
have
of the
several.
game.
Yeah, we moved here with one, and then we got another, and then we had another we're gonna get shortly. Because hunting season is not till the winter, so we don't need it quite yet. But there's also some plants that do better, frozen than dried for preserving.
Oh, really?
So,
What plants?
um, certain roots do better frozen. Like you got to process them. Like burdock root is better frozen than dried, unless you're gonna want to do tea. But if you're using it as a vegetable, it's better frozen.
Okay.
Anything that's a root, like we have daylilies here, that the roots are also edible, and those are better frozen after you blanch them a little bit. Even some of the greens, like the nettles, are if you want to eat them as a vegetable and not use them for tea or whatever, they're better, blanched and then squeezed and frozen like spinach. So there's a bunch of stuff that does better off frozen than dried
Oh,
preservation if you want to use it as a food rather than a medicinal tea.
okay. So that's really cool. Again, another awesome tip. Did not know. And interesting, you said roots. So, like carrots, then would probably be a good one to freeze. I mean, frozen carrots are everywhere in the store, but
Yeah.
if you can do up your own thing and clean them off and freeze them and they actually last, that's awesome. And I didn't know spinach, and that's one of the few vegetables I really like. So, in the future, I might be freezing some spinach and such.
Yeah, you just got to process it a little bit. You boil it for a couple of minutes and then you squeeze all the excess water out and then you freeze it and it holds up pretty well. If you just freeze the leaves straight, it turns into sludge and it is not appealing.
Yeah, you see, and that's what's something I would have done. Just like, all right, just toss it in there. We're good to go. So,
Yeah, no, you don't want to do
yeah,
that. It
okay.
turns into goop and it's just not good.
Don't do that. Got it. See, you saved me.
Yeah, from spinach goop. Mm.
Although you never know, there might be some people who are into that. Like, yeah, I'm down with
Yeah,
the goop. Go go go.
and you can toss it in a soup, make a nice broth.
Yeah. Well, it would be a gumbo for me. That, oh gosh, I'm gonna make myself hungry. I haven't had gumbo in years.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, well, the thing with gumbo is you can't just go to any place and get it. And if you had a family member who knew how to make it and you try going elsewhere, it's just never going to be the same. And my grandmother,
Hmm.
she made gumbo. Oh my God, amazing. And it's just never been the same from anyone else. And it's like, ah, this sucks. So
Yeah,
it's
you need that family recipe.
yeah, it's one of those things. So it's just but I mean that could be said for just about any family recipe where it's like something tastes different here. It's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
Now, jumping the gun here. So you're into nature, you got your spirituality and all of that, but do you have the fae?
Oh, we have the Fae in large amounts here.
Okay,
This is a very wild area, and the Fae abound.
okay, so explain to people what fae are.
So Fae are for me, and there's a little bit of difference in what people think of the Fae, but Fae for me are any kind of spirits that are tied to the land where you are. In the Norse practice, though, the Landvatir, it's kind of the same principle. I do a lot of Nordic traditions, and it's very much the same thing, where it's the embodiment of the spirit of that land. And there's so much here because we have the forest and we have an abundance of rivers and lakes and ponds here. So all of those have their embodiment of a water spirit that take different forms. I'm pretty sure we have a Bigfoot, which I think falls under the Fae, because we've had a lot of knocking out of the woods at like 1 a.m. and me and it whistle back and forth sometimes. Um, so we have a very much large abundance of the Fae here. Both, the tree spirits, the animal spirits, all the plants, all the water. We get some interesting wind spirits here when it's tornado season too.
Oh, what makes them interesting?
Just depending on the different types of storms we get, like the different forms they can take. Like I have some pictures of my phone where I've gotten pictures that look like a dragon blowing a storm out of its mouth in front of the sun. And one that looked like a giant turtle. It's very interesting the different forms they take.
Hmm. And that actually just reminds me of the what is it called? The four oh it's the four something. For oh anyway, it's in Chinese lore where you have the dragon, the turtle, the tiger, and the I can't pronounce the Chinese name, but it's essentially a phoenix. Feng Hao, Feng
Mm,
Wang. So so far you got symbols, the four symbols. That's what they're called. So you got two of the four
mm.
symbols that you've captured. That is amazing.
Yeah, you get a. I have a lot of interesting pictures of different things that I've captured on the camera when I've been like in the woods or taking pictures of the clouds or the water. A lot of orbs, a lot of that kind of stuff too that I've gotten pictures of since we've been here.
So do you think orbs are actual energy of some sort, not just dust or whatever people say it is?
Definitely, it's definitely types of energy. Some of them I think are just dust reacting with the camera, but the ones that feel like energy definitely show up on the pictures differently than the ones that are just dust motes that reflected light.
Okay. And what do you have one-to-one interactions with any fae? Have they come and personally visited you? Or it's I'm going to respect nature, you do your thing, and I'm always going to be respectful at a distance or anything like that.
Oh, I've definitely had a lot of one-on-one interactions with them. I work with Faye anyway, and when I came into the woods and this property, because the people who had it before us were very elderly, and the property had been let go for quite a few years before we got it. So when we started coming in and cleaning up and leaving offerings and feeding the local animals and all that, there was definitely a lot of interaction very quickly.
Oh, holy cow. How did you feel with that? That must have been cool.
Oh, it was quite the experience. And making friends with the local animals too. Like I have a flock of ravens that every time I go in the woods, they follow me and then they'll lead me to like cool things like mushroom patches and places where the coyotes and wolves leave their bones after they've eaten. And I've gotten so much cool stuff by following my raven friends that some of them I feel are just embodied fae, and they will lead me through the woods to all the cool things.
That is awesome. And then do they I, I don't want to say blessings because it sounds a little too Christian for my taste, but do they I don't know how I don't know another word for it, but do they
Uh,
kind
rep,
of
reciprocity. Like there's a lot of that. I leave them
okay.
food, they leave me to cool things. We definitely have a give and take relationship when it comes to all of that.
Okay. So, yeah, what's that word again? Say it again.
God, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but reciprocity, it's a big thing in the heathen traditions. Your community with your land spirits and your deities just as much as your community with your fellow people. They are people too, the Fae and the deities, people in their own right.
Hmm.
And you treat them as such, and you get that give and take relationship with them
Yeah,
instead of trying to treat them like a cosmic vending machine where, oh, I left all these things and now you're going to give me this. I don't function in that way.
yeah, you're giving just to give. You're not wanting, needing, or expecting anything in return. It doesn't work
Nope,
that
if I
way.
get something in return, that's fine. And if I don't, I'm still going to feed my ravens and my other animal friends anyway, because, that's what I do.
It sounds like this thing in Taiwan, or not necessarily Taiwan, but in Asian culture in general, where, they have a belief in the land spirits, gods, goddesses, and those beings, they may not necessarily start off as a god, but they could be elevated into one. And
Hmm.
the people in the community, they hold festivals to give them some love and show respect and everything. That's what it sounds like to me with you and
Yeah,
the Fae.
a, a lot of the older religions functioned in that way, where all the spirits were just, they were part of your family, your extended family. And some of them were your family because the ancestors are definitely up in the mix too. And some of them get elevated in various cultures. You elevate your ancestors to a guardian spirit or even a deity over the course of enough years.
So that's very interesting, very cool. But it also seems like it can be overwhelming as well if you're someone new to this and you're just not used to it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that doing the throw yourself into the deep end method probably isn't the smartest way to go if you want to stay sane.
Yeah. So,
Um,
what would you recommend for someone who wants to communicate with Faye or just, be more in touch? Maybe not have direct communication, but just be more in touch.
Start small. You can leave little offerings if you have, a yard, make a little corner that's your Fey garden and leave them pretty shiny things and, bread and milk for offerings and just sit with them and see what they say and how you feel. Um, and same way as getting to know any other spirit that you're going to work with, caution, of course, and respect, but don't approach them fearfully because it generally doesn't end well if you approach the Fae with fear. But if you approach them with respect and that general vibe of the I'm not doing this to get anything in return, you're usually pretty good. Of course, watch your words with them. That is one part of the Fae lore that is definitely spot on is they will rules lawyer the hell out of bargains you make with them if you make bargains. So be very sure of every word you speak to them.
Mm-mm. Okay. Well, I got to remember that for Daisy. Might be too late. Uh, so, this is interesting because you triggered two memories, two stories rather. One of them was from a group who used to be on YouTube called Ouija Board Adventures. 10 points if you can guess what they were about. And they would communicate with various nature spirits. And two of them in particular stood out. One was a fire. entity of some sort. And while they were filming and trying to capture evidence, you can definitely see something pop up. And this thing, how it was communicating, it was somewhat aggressive and it was very fiery. And their
Yes.
response to it, it was equal. Like how it responded, they responded. They were matching that energy, which I thought was
Yep.
interesting. And the other one, and this one blew me away because you can hear this thing. It was a water spirit of some sort, entity, and they were communicating with it, and it was softer and almost shy like, and you could hear what sounded like water trickling about, and they weren't anywhere near water, and they showed the area they were at. I was just blown away when I heard it. I was like, what the heck was that? Just wild.
That's really cool.
And
Yeah, fire spirits though, definitely they took the right track with, matching that energy. We have one that we have actually we brought with us from Florida that we keep in our fire pit and our forge when we do our forge work, and we've worked with this fire elemental for almost 2 decades now. But yeah, you got to match energy with them because if you don't, they'll burn you, and potentially physically they will burn you.
oh. So yeah, so it's very interesting. So yeah, match energy. I mean, be respectful, of course,
Mhm.
but match that energy. And the other
Yeah,
one is a friend who actually had things stolen from her by a fairy of some sort. And it's like, what the heck, you little thief? Like, what are you doing? Like, literally, would this?
that's really common with the Fae
Yeah,
for them to take stuff. That's really common.
didn't replace it, no money. It's like, come on now. And hiding. That's the other thing. Like playing around and hiding car keys. It's like, no, I know these
Yep.
keys were right here. And all of a sudden they're here. So it's interesting stuff. Some of the stories are accurate, but then some of them are Disneyfied, I'll say.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go with the Disney-fied version of the Fae. That's a good way to get yourself in some trouble.
Yeah. So did you ever get in trouble with them, or you've always been A-OK and smooth
Not
sailing?
so much with with the Fae, because I had done quite a bit of research on them before I started interacting with them, and already had kind of a grounding in working with deities, and I applied a lot of those same principles to working with the Fae. Um, Definitely though, with the Fae, especially don't go back on your word. If you tell them you're going to do something, you better do it. Uh, um, and like I said, you gotta make sure that you state stuff in very explicit terms because they will rules lawyer the hell out of you. And oh, but this word actually means this, and or it means that when that is not what you intended for that statement to mean.
Yeah, they're
That's where a lot of people get in trouble with the Fae. Either they make a promise, like I will leave you an offering every third Tuesday of the month, and then they don't, or they state things in terms that are way too open and not nearly specific enough.
oh, okay. So they're expert bargainers. They know how
Oh yes,
they know the business. So this is funny because I think one of my guides, and I've spoken about her several times. Her name is Daisy. She's a pixie, and I think I have made her mad many times over because I'm not a super outdoorsy person. And I promised her, I said, I'll be more outdoorsy. I'll go out more because you like plants and stuff. And I never really
mm.
did that. And hmm, and now I'm
I would
wondering.
suggest that possibly you do that because if
Yeah.
you made a promise to a Fae, you better keep it.
Yeah. And then from what I understand with her, and again, I sound so crazy talking about this stuff, but with her, I learned that pixies and fairies were two different things. I had no idea at first. I thought fairy was just an umbrella term for everything, but no, fairies and pixies are two different beings, and they apparently didn't or don't get along too well. And from what Daisy shared, yeah, she doesn't necessarily see herself as above fairies or nothing like that, but she could do not being in their company. And it's like, oh, and I used to call her a fairy, so not good.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factions and different kinds of Fae, and not all of them get along
Yeah,
well. Just like, people.
yeah, like people. So, definitely something I learned along the way. However, I don't think she's really done anything to me, but I do know that if she does not like you, you will know because for whatever reason, people she doesn't like that I speak to, like they feel drained, like or just like something swarming
She's vamping
around them.
them.
Yeah, they feel awkward. And then she has a habit of doing something to all the women that I had little things for. Oh, if she didn't like them, nope, she's making sure they know and they go away. It's like, you heifer.
Well, I mean, that could be a good thing.
It is a good thing because I'm a terrible judge of character. I mean, if a chick has a nice bum, I'm already there. Like, woo!
Well,
so,
the thing.
so yeah, it's a very good thing for me. It's just at times annoying, but in retrospect, it's like, okay, I get it. Not at the moment though. It's like, darn you. Um, so what are some offerings that you can leave the Fae?
Depends, really. Usual good go-tos are any natural kind of things, flowers, as long as you've asked permission to take them. Bread, especially if you've made it yourself. Honey. I've left them mead before, but that was homemade. They like the sweeter things and anything shiny.
Oh,
Of course, if you're dealing with a fire spirit, they like anything, but especially really strong booze.
oh,
Um, so you really need to like kind of research what fae you're interacting with, because all of them have slightly different preferences for stuff like offerings.
yeah. Yeah, everyone's different. That makes sense. I never knew about the
Yeah,
shiny stuff though. That makes them sound like a magpie. Yeah.
kinda, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, oh well, it might explain leprechauns and their love of gold or some mess like that.
Hmm.
So that's interesting. I didn't know that. I knew about the some of the sweet stuff, the honey. I've actually told people like if you are dealing with this particular type, leave some honey and even write a little note
Mm,
saying, "Hey, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Hello." Just being kind.
yeah,
It's
I
free
find
to be
that
kind.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was done. Don't worry.
I was gonna say, I find that like fae that are around humans a lot, like when you make them like their own little garden space on your property too, little fairy house in there and like a fountain and wind chimes and shiny things and pretty flowers. They really like that.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that's absolutely crazy, or at least I thought it was. Okay, so you guys know Indrid Cold. I had her on a few times. Really awesome chick. And um in private, and it's okay. This I can share this. It's nothing too bad, but in private we were trying to figure out her guides, what's around her, and one particular thing showed up and it has something to do with water. It's like, what the heck is this? What's going on with water? It has to be around water. And turns out it was a nymph. And a nymph is a water spirit of sorts. And they're like, okay, but what is it doing there? Like, do you have any water around you or anything? And or a little place for it? Like, that's so weird. And it I want to say it gave her his name because it was a guy, and that's when it hit Indrid. Like, oh my gosh, there actually is a water spot on her property, and she goes to it, and it's beautiful, and it's like, whoa. So that's where he's at. It's just mind-boggling. Like just out of nowhere, he shows up, but Daisy did not like him. So, of course, little miss attitude, but it was still a cool experience. It was a really cool
Pixies are
experience.
kind of known for their attitude, yes. That is really cool though, especially that she didn't know it was there before it showed up, or
Yeah,
wasn't really thinking consciously of it being there.
yeah, exactly. So it's a little koi pond. Just like, what the heck? So very, very
That's a
awesome.
nice discovery to make on your property, though.
Yeah, it is. So hopefully she's diving deeper into that and learning more about it and everything. But and Indrid's really, really cool. But she's on the another content type of stuff, and I won't get into it. But if you know, you know. So, but Fae are just very interesting because, like you said, it's different sects of them. It's so many of them, and they
Hmm.
have their personalities and everything. And the nature, the more naturey spirits, I consider elementals like Fae, but I
Hmm.
always call them more naturey spirits because I feel like they're quite literally born of this planet, and I feel that
Yes.
they are protectors as well. And with them, how would you interact with them, assuming you feel like one is around watching and trying to figure you out?
A really good introduction for working with nature spirits. Pick what elemental you're wanting to work with, first of all, or what you're called to. Like she was, had the water spirit. So if I was feeling called to a water spirit I didn't know well, I would go to wherever they habitated, or if I couldn't find that spot, my nearest body of water, pick up trash.
Mm,
It's a good introduction because they're, like you said, they're protectors of nature, and you're putting them in, look, I'm here with you. I'm also doing my best to protect this environment and make it more pleasant for everybody. So that's my big intro to any nature spirits. Wind spirits, of course, it's harder because
yeah.
you can't really pull the pollution out of the air.
Uh,
But for earth spirits, your water spirits, I like to go and clean up a forest or a beach or another body of water as a nice kind of intro. So
okay.
kind of a little act of service that shows them that you're interested on starting a relationship in the same space they are.
Okay. And you know how stupid I am thinking of the wind spirit. I was like, oh, you could just plug in a fan. That does it. So, so dumb. I need help.
I mean, it's not really though, because you can do that or have like a little ornamental windmill in your yard or something of that
Yeah.
nature. They like wind chimes too. They make the pretty noise when the wind blows. So feathers for the wind spirits too for natural stuff. But you could plug in a fan, especially if you're in an area that doesn't really get a lot of natural moving air.
Okay. So, all right. So, not too bad then. I feel better because that's what jumped in my head immediately. Like, oh, you could plug in a fan. It's like, what the heck?
You could. It's moving the air, and that could, especially again, if you're in an area where you don't get a lot of natural air movement to communicate with them that way, the fan is creating that air movement, kind of a hello, welcome, come visit me. And
Oh,
you could use a fan on some wind chimes too, make that nice tingle.
yeah. And I do love the sound of chimes. I think those are awesome. Like, it's something about those that frequency and that just ding 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 ding. I love
Hmm.
them. Just like I like hearing bells as well. I have no idea why. Just something I've always loved.
Bells is another good one for air spirits. Anything that makes the noise in the wind.
Okay, so I hope everyone's taking notes on this. If you're not, well, I guess you could rewind. So we are coming close to our ending, but I want to know what is some advice for disconnecting from the non-natural world because it seems difficult to do.
It is, especially now when everybody's, glued to their phones most days. Biggest thing I can say, again, with that, start small. You're not going to be able to just unplug completely and disconnect in one, cold turkey kind of swoop. Just take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and walk down your road. Start to familiarize yourself with your natural environment. Pay attention to the moon cycle. Go out and spend 10 minutes meditating at night when the moon rises, or the sun if you're more of a sun person. You know, put your phone, leave it in the house, and just go and be outside for 5-10 minutes to start and just gradually increase that time.
Yeah, I think that's good
Try to,
advice.
and you might be able to get up. Most people aren't going to be able to leave their jobs or whatever behind and put all that stuff away all the time. But if you can get up to a couple hours a day, it is a very big reset on your mind.
Yeah. And you mentioned the moon phases, and I think that is so important and it's often overlooked because if the moon affects water on this planet, the tides coming in, out, high, low, all that
Hmm.
stuff, and our bodies are what, 70% water?
Yep.
you know, who's to say the moon isn't literally having a pull on us as well? There is a reason why they call lunatics, and Luna
Hmm.
moon is in there.
There's a reason why most emergency service workers hate working on the full moon. All the craziest shit happens on the full moon.
So I definitely 100% agree with you. Like, know the moon phases and make sure you're prepared. And something that I enjoy doing, and I haven't done it in a long time, but I enjoy literally walking around at midnight. That is something that it's a little spooky and eerie, but at the same time, it's so quiet and
Yep.
relaxing. And oh man, especially in the summer too, because you have that heat, but it's a cool heat. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, whoa, I kind of like this. This is refreshing in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Oh, it definitely does. I like to go out around that same time too, midnight. Sometimes if I'm having a bout of insomnia, I'll be out till 2, 3 in the morning and just enjoy the quiet. Because even here, we live close to a highway, and while it's not super busy during the day, we get a lot of the people on their ATVs and such, and it's
Mm.
loud. But by the time midnight hits, everybody's home, they're asleep, and it's just quiet and dark, and you can look at the stars or the moon and listen to the night birds.
Yeah, so I think that is just so cool. So I do recommend everyone try that at least one time if you're in a safe environment and you can do it. Like, just try it. It's something very relaxing and rejuvenating about it, and I can't explain it. Now, when it comes to the daytime getaway, I it's gonna sound crazy, but I love it when I go through sort of abandoned like areas. Again, it's a weird, eerie feeling, but it's just something about it because I think it's the quiet that does it. And you just walk around, you take in this energy, this atmosphere, and you kind of recharge in a weird way.
I like cemeteries for that reason too. There's usually not a lot of people there, even in the middle of the day, and you get that same, quiet and calm, and you can just kind of sit and relax and ground out.
Yeah. And, so about the disconnect, yeah, you could do little things like that, like you said, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all. And but it is so hard for people to get off their phones, especially now that the TikTok brain is happening, as they call it. Or what is it, TikTok
Oh,
rot?
yeah, the brain rot.
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't have TikTok. I probably will never have it. And I see people just moving their fingers on the video every 30 seconds. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's like, what the heck? Man,
Yeah, I
like,
don't TikTok either because I had that same kind of feeling with it. I looked at it like I think once and I was like, nope.
yeah, so I can't do the TikTok thing. That's just it's a bit too much. And I also, if I'm going to watch something or listen to some, I like long form media. I'm very big into that, but that's the writing background as well. But you know what? That's actually a good way to disconnect as well. I think reading a freaking book
Mhm. Yep.
and just letting your imagination go wild and letting your inner child out. That's something that people don't do at all
Yeah.
anymore.
I seen these amazing things on, I think it was Facebook the other day, which I don't go on much anymore either, but it's bubble poi. So instead of having the lights or the fire, it's a bubble wand on a chain. And I was like, I want one of those so bad. My inner child is jumping up and down saying, gimme, 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 we need this.
Gimme,
And it
gimme.
just looked like so much fun.
No, you know what I saw that I would like to get, but it's more so for pranking people. So you would have to be in an environment where folks have a good sense of humor. It's this air gun. It literally just shoots air. And they put fart spray in it and shot
Oh,
it.
oh, that's vile.
I loved it though. It's like, yes.
That
It's
stuff is oh,
yeah, oh, it'll knock you out. but yeah, and the guy was about 30-40 feet away, and you can see the air when it hit his shoulder. You could see it. The guy's like, oh, looking around and everything. The woman next to him thought he farted.
I
It was great. So
might need one of those now too.
I love things like that. Like that's something you know what? I bet you that'll save you from a bear attack.
Quite possibly. I have the bear horn. And of course I don't go into the woods unarmed either, just
Yeah.
in case, but they would probably run from that too. We have the black bears around here, and they're kind of cowardly.
Yeah, they're skittish, you don't have to worry about them too much. Now, when you
No, the first time I seen one, I threw the window open and I screamed, "Hi, mama!" because it was a mama with four babies, and then I felt horrible because they all were terrified and ran into the woods.
nope, forget this. Go, go, go. No, it was something I was watching, and they wish it was a black bear. It was a freaking grizzly who
Ooh,
just decided to say hi in the most fearsome of ways. He literally poked his head in the car window and
I.
you know I'm pretty sure you could see the guy's soul leave his body.
I bet. I bet. I'm pretty sure mine would too, because black bears are one thing, grizzlies are a whole nother thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty much nothing you can do about a grizzly. They can outrun you, outclimb you, and outpunch you.
Uh-huh. Oh yes, their paws are bigger than your head.
Yeah. So, but luckily the guy, he was okay. And the bear just wanted to say hi and be nosy. He turned into a dog, but that oh man, like I said, you can literally see his soul leave his body, and he lost 5 years of his life.
I bet. I would not be surprised if he had some white streaks going on in the hair after that.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think that's a good spot to end it on freaking Yogi Bear coming after somebody. Oh
This was fun
gosh.
though. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. This was actually much more fun than I'm not the biggest person with tech, but this was good.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's me. Come on. Okay, so let's say someone wanted to reach out to you for advice or anything. Would you be open to that?
Yeah, they can jump into the Two Pondering Pagans Discord and hit me up on there. That's no problem.
Yeah, okay. So you guys be sure to do that. And Dragon, again, thank you for coming on. It was fun
Yeah, thank you for
conversation.
having me.
A lot of knowledge was shared and a lot of goofiness as well, mostly from me. So you know how it goes. And as usual, guys, be sure to check the description below so you can find Unexplained Possibilities social links. And remember, there are things that go bump in the night. go ahead and tell them hi. Bye, everybody.
Bye.